Starting in Parasha Toldos. There's a lot of insight in this parasha, and we're going to focus on a continuation of what we've learned in Parasha Noach about the Me'ara. That's really a Me'ara that's inside the person himself. The Torah here tells us seemingly a story that the Ramban jumps on it and says there's no pshat to explain it. It's impossible to explain it according to the pshat. Yitzhak Avinu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so he was getting ready to go to Mitzrayim. Kadosh Baruch Hu told him, you know what? You were born in Eretz Yisrael. You were Oila Temima on the Mizbeach. You cannot go down to Mitzrayim. Go to Gerar. Eretz Pelishtim. It's a different share. Why Gerar? What happens there? And it's Chutz Haaretz anyway. So if you're telling him, I'm not going to go into it, but it's a different share. Very deep reason why what happened there. I'm going to touch them a little bit, and you're going to understand that Eretz Pelishtim, it's been a thorn in our foot since times. It's been, we were not koveshit because Avimelech. A lot of Ram says, "Batoiv beinecha shape." You can sit anywhere in our land just for that goodness. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, let them be. That's the only thorn we have. But when Mashiach will come, we'll finish them up. So, and David HaMelech went all the way to the gates of Gerar, but didn't touch them. Shimshon did it. Couldn't do it. So here, Yitzhak Avinu goes to Gerar, and he sits in town, in the city. He becomes extremely rich. Everyone in the city also becomes very rich, to the point the people start saying, the zevel, the garbage of the donkeys of Yitzhak is more important to us than the silver and the gold of Avimelech. So when Avimelech is hearing this, he's not a happy camper. He's the king. And people now basically have done a coup. Yitzhak is de facto the real king because people follow him, follow everything, and so forth. Avimelech gets very jealous. And he told him, look, get out of here. Now. You can't wait. Now you pack up and leave. Yitzchak Avinu packs up and leaves. Doesn't ask questions. It's a hard thing to do. A person is like a tree of the field. Ki Adam eitz hasadehu. A person is like a tree. If you uproot a tree, the tree dies. You uproot a person, he goes in galus, it's a portion, it's a partial killing, it's a partial misa. Anyone would have looked up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and said, what did I do? What did I do this? Yeah, gamzul tova, maybe gamzul tova in the mouth, but in the heart, there's no gamzul tova. But Yitzchak Avinu just goes. And the Torah tells us that he came to camp on Nachal Gerar, there was obviously there some kind of Nachal, of river, and then he changed his mind. Vayeshev Sham, he sat there. I'm asking you a question. Do you know people that have a river, they go create the city in the desert, and they leave the river alone? Everyone knows river means Parnasa. Rashi explains, Vayichan benachal Gerar rachoik min ha'ir. He was far away from the city. I really don't understand this Pelishtim. They have a tremendous natural resource, and they go in the desert. Why do that such a foolish thing? But thereafter, Yitzchak starts digging wells. Where does he dig them? In the river. Okay, let's say the pasuk means in the river, on the bank of the river. Let's try to explain on the bank of the river. What happened? These were wells that Avram Avinu has dug out, and they filled them back in. And Yitzhak Avinu had to. I'm not going to go into the story of the Be'eres themselves. I just want to point out something here. Something doesn't stim. You have a river. You're looking for wellspring that the river feeds. You have the river itself. It's much easier to go to the river and draw water from a river than drawing water from a well. And what happens? They dig out the first well, come the shepherds from Gerar, and they fight. Yitzhak Avinu gives it up. He calls it Esek. There was a discord there. What do they want it for, the Roy Gerar, exactly? You tell me Roy means they are shepherds. Shepherds have flocks. Oh, you find a well, you're interested by the well. If you have a flock, let's say of 1,000 heads, you think it's easier to go draw water for 1,000 heads rather than just letting them drink from the river? Well, you stupid? Are you adding work on yourself? So what do you want the well for? And why do you dig a well in the first place there? This is a place when there's no need of well. If you're in a midbar and you find fresh water, wellspring, you know, that's great. That's worth gold in a chinami. But if you're in a river, it's not even worth the effort you put in to dig it out. Not even worth it. So what is this whole maaseh with this digging? On two of them, the first two, they're going to fight. The third one, they're not going to fight on it. So the second one is called Sitna, letters Hasatan. And the third one is going to call it Rechoivos. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu widen, from Lashon Rachav, you widen up our prospects in the land. Interesting. The first two, you give them a name in singular, Esek, Sitna. The third one, you start speaking in plural. You start calling Rechoivos, which is a plural name. Be consistent. Are you trying to tell me something? Are you trying to say with this whole story something that we don't see? Let's dig it out. It's our turn to dig the well and to see what's behind all this and how much wealth. And we're only going to touch like maybe a fly when it touches the ocean with its leg. That's how much we're going to take. But the depth of this, the shemis are found in there. The yichudim in this Parasha are mind-boggling. Obviously, we're not going to talk about this, but we're going to go a little bit deeper than usual because even the Ramban, as I mentioned beforehand, said there is no pshat. Api pshat, you cannot explain it. So he gives a drush, the Ramban, and he says like this. The first well, so the three wells, I can get the three Beit HaMikdash. The first one, we had it, they came, they argued, there were wars, and we lost it. They destroyed it. Then we had the second one. Something happened. But when it's going to come, time for the third one, this one is going to be for eternity. And that's how, and the Ramban learns this as the remes that Yitzhak Avinu, that's what he was merames to the Doires later on, that only the third Beis HaMikdash will be Le'ol Me'ad, forever. We still don't understand the plural in the last name. He doesn't answer that, and we still don't understand the reason Hashem was mentioned only in the third one and not in the first two. We're going to go a little bit, I said, a little bit deeper. Let's start diving in a little bit in that river. If you take the word Pelishti, this is mind-boggling. This week, I'm not going to drag you into funky stuff. I'm just going to bring you meanings, Gematrias that are here only to the core. I'm only going to address a few, but very much to the core. Pelishtim is plural. Eretz Pelishti, so Pelishti. Pelishti equals 830. Exactly the numbers of the years that the two Batei Mikdashim stood up. Interestingly, look at the parallel. They fought on the first two wells. But the Ramban said the wells refer to the Batei Mikdash. You take their name, and their name state the number of years. These very two Batei Mikdash that the Ramban described are in their name. They are the Klippa, the Nachash, that's going to destroy. So something is there. I explained in a previous year why Gerar, because right after the Maaseh of the Bnei Sloit, as soon as they finished, they went with their father. Right away, Yaakov packed up. Where did he go? To Gerar. Why Gerar? Because this is the next station for the Mashiach. So, Lot, if you remember, I brought the Zohar saying that why did Avram take Lot with him? Why was his station not far away from Lot? We saw from Rashi it was only 4 meals, not mean 4 kilometers, because he saw in him the nitzots of the Mashiach. When the nitzots of the Mashiach was passed, the nitzots of David HaMelech. Once the nitzots of David HaMelech was passed to his daughter, right away Avram packs up and goes to Gerar. What's in Gerar? Naama. That's going to be the future wife of Rehovram, the son of Shlomo HaMelech. And she is closer from Ruth to the Mashiach. She's considered the mother of the Mashiach. Ruth had David HaMelech, Shlomo HaMelech. Shlomo HaMelech has a son called Rehovam. Rehovam marries Naama. She's of Bnei Pelishtim. And Naama is, interestingly, that Naama is one of the granddaughters of Orpah. They used to be with Ruth together with Naomi in Moab. Interesting, but just for the history of it. So Naama comes, marries Rehovam, and she carries the nitzots of the Mashiach. So on the father's side is Ruth, on the mother's side is Naama. And that's why they're both going to Gerar. And if I change the shear on the fly and I go into Gerar, I just want to tell you something. Gerar equals 403. Adam Nachash. When Adam sinned, to explain you without going to Kabbalistic thing, so the neshamas that were trapped by the Nachash were there in Eretz Pelishtim. Eretz Pelishtim is a thorn because these are where the roots of the Eitz Hadas is. The Zohar teaches us that around the Eitz Hadas is the Nachash. So the worst, basically we have Amalek as a hatred, but in terms of spirituality, the worst spiritual enemy we have is the Pelishtim. So let's go back here to Eretz Pelishtim. Mind-boggling that they have in their name the number of years that the Mashiach, the Batei Mikdashim are going to be standing up. On the other hand, we need to find out what's in the Kedusha that counters them. So we can understand this Inyan of Bear, what do we have to do? What are you talking? You know, because today we don't have Batei Mikdash, so what do we do Yitzhak Avinu today? We'll see. Para Aduma Temima was one of the mitzvahs of the Beis Hamikdash. And if you take Para Aduma Temima, equals exactly 830. What was doing the Para Aduma? The Para Aduma was metayr from the worst tumor, a person from the worst tumor. Tamemes, Avi Avoisa tumor. So we see that if you want to stand on the Kedusha side, you must have Tahara. Otherwise, you cannot be. How many soldiers Esav came with? 400. The Arizal learns from there that there are in total 400 camps of Tumah. Esav became the chariot. He became the host of all of them together. And this is what it took to fight Yaakov Avinu. 400. 400 Resichin Sedezer on the right side, 400 on the bad side. You think it's Yaakov Avinu, Esav looked like a bad guy? He looked like long hair? No, he looked like the son of Yitzhak. Exactly like the son of Yitzhak. On the outside, he had a stroimol, he had a bakashe, he had everything. But inside, he was rotten. A person who's two, Shnaim, is Gematria 400. A person that's one on the outside, one on the inside, automatically his din is he goes to the wrong side. So a person who lives in the sheker, you remember we spoke about this sheker, it's 600 and the sheker is Gematria, Kina, Taiva, Kaveh, the worst thing at the Moitzies Adam in Oilam. Where does it take him to? Moitzi Mina Oilam takes him to the Oilam Atuma, Chazvesham. On the other side, Eloikim Shakai equals 400. That's protection. So just to understand that what brings a person, from one side to another, and that's going to be the Be'er Mayim Chaim. All the Mefarshim ask, what it means? You find a bear. Why Be'er Mayim Chaim? What are you trying to insinuate here? Before I go in here, I just want to keep on digging in the Bate Mikdashes so we understand one more point. The first one was called Sitna, Ashek. It's worth, the value of Ashek is 470. The Gematria of Yehi Oyer Vayehi Oyer. The Oyer Haganus, the Oyer that was created during the 6 days of the creation, was shining in the first Beis Hamikdash. Just to understand what we lost. In the second one, it was not, but in the first one, it was. And why did we lose it? Because if we don't understand, our history, why we lost it, we don't know what to correct. We lost it because Esek is the opposite. When you try to extract from, because you have a good mouth and you try to reason and pat yourself in the back, find an excuse that seem to be standing, and with that you want to squeeze someone else. Mayim is emes. We'll see. Mayim is Torah. It's compared to Torah. But why? Because Torah is emes, then Mayim is emes. Mayim equals 90. And Mayim is the word that you can read from one side or the other. It reads Mayim. Whichever side. 99 is the number of emes. 90, everything has what we call a level, is always a level of 10. Full level means 10. 10 times 9 equal 90, equals mine. Oh, that's what you're demanding from me? That's what I'm supposed to have? who's the person who can live with such a midah of emes? Impossible. So what? I'm going to fall into Esau? I'm going to have the same chas v'shalom, the same fate of the Beis Hamikdash because, I cannot live with Be'er Ma'im Chaim. It's a process. The first two were destroyed, right? The third one was successful. So what about me? I'm just human. I'm going to explain this point in very much detail so we understand when a person goes into life and always challenges himself and say, did I do enough? Didn't I do enough? Maybe I have to do more ishtadlus. Maybe I overdid ishtadlus. Maybe I'm on the wrong path. Maybe I'm on the right path and what I'm doing is right. So how do I know that a person is constantly, a person that's seeking truth is constantly beating himself down and wasting a lot of valuable time finding out where am I standing? Now starts the shir. This is what Yitzhak came to teach us. This is the core of his teaching. Do you really think Yitzhak Avinu took a shovel? Because on the first three, the one that were destroyed by the Pelishtim, it says, Vayechpar Yitzhak banachal. It's Yitzhak Avinu who did it. Yitzhak Avinu took a shovel. He went digging out, in the mud there. How many days was he digging? Is it worth the digging or it's worth from Yitzhak Avinu the Torah? So what's this whole story about? Says Reb Moshe David Valley, the Talmid of Reb Chaim Vital, the Talmid of the Ariya Kodesh. You know what Nachal is? Nachal is a Mazala Kadisha. Always remember that name because this is a Mazal of the Bnei Israel. Mazala Kadisha, some call it Mazala Ilah, the upper Mazal, or the holy Mazal, the Mazala Kodesh, Mazala Kadisha. Noitzer Chesed Lo Alofim, Rashi Tevois Nachal. Just for the kick of it, since we're arriving soon into Hanukkah, Lehadlik Ner Shel Chanukah Nachal. In the Kavanas, it's the same Kavanah of Noitzer Chesed Alafim that we're pulling from there. All the Shefa and the brachas the Israel are getting, we're not getting from the 12, from the whatever, the Koch Veleches, the horoscope. We're not getting it from there. We're getting it from two mazalas, Noitzer Chesed, and we're getting it from Venake, the last one. So one pass it on. This is called the Mazal of the Bnei Israel, these two together. And these two come and fill the Be'er, which the Be'er is the Shechina. Why? Because the Shechina has nothing on its own. It's only a Kli. So they come these Mazalas and they fill in. What do they fill in? Bane Chaye Mezoine. We've been saying it over and over. Children, life, and Panasa. Bane Chaye Mezoine equals Be'er. 203, 203. So it fills up to the measure of the Be'er, and boom, and the Be'er. Now, when the Be'er of Bnei Israel don't do the right thing, so the Be'er is empty because the Mazalas cannot fill out the Be'er because it's held by the Chitzonim in the Tumah. At that point, it's called Boyer. What did they throw Yosef into? A Boyer. What's the difference between a boyer and a bear? The Pardes Rimonim explained, the Ramak explained, the Ramak, Pardes Rimonim. Pardes Rimonim explained the difference is one is full, one is empty. It's the same thing, it's the same structure. It's a hole in the ground. A boyer, there's nechashim ba'akravim or stagnant water that dies, so it's dead water. On the other hand, on the Be'er, it's lively water. What is lively water? That it has a wellspring under it feeding up live water. And this is the main difference between these two categories here. So if we look on the second Beis Hamikdash, we see that it was called Sitna, because the Satan, created turmoil and created the Sines Chinam, and the Sines Chinam destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. Here, Yitzhak Avinu with his name sends us a message. Sitna equals 394. What is 394? David times Yud Kei Vav Kei, 14 times Yud Kei Vav Kei. So David Yud Kei Vav Kei. Whenever the Beis Hamikdash stands, means the Malchus Shamayim there's going to be a Malchus on the Aretz, a Malchus based David. Whenever there's no Malchus Shamayim, there is no Malchus based David. It goes hand in hand. And then we come to Rechoves, which is the final one. The first two were built, Rabbeinu Bachai said, were built by men. That's why that's why the Pasuk didn't use the name of Hashem. The third one, Hashem built it. That's why the Pasuk used the name of Hashem. And that falls right in place. But we still don't have a reason why that it's said in plural. So I understand, fine. We talking subjectively here. The Nachal means the avodah that Yitzhak was doing on Noitzer Chesed Lo Alafim in the Mazala Kadisha. So where are the wells? Where is the water? Are we talking about real wells, real water? Here comes the Baal Shem and gives us a yesod which is tremendous. The person in this world, the mission is to uncover to remove the dirt from the water, because the water is a Torah. Okay. What's the meaning of this? There's a Rashi in Parshas Bereshis, Ve'ed Ya'ale min hasadeh, says something's very strange. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, after he told the waters to recede from the ground, he told them, come back. I need you to weigh the ground so it could be muddy. And they did it. Why mud? Because he took the mud, handful of mud, and with that handful of mud, he created man. In other words, man is built with dirt and water. A combination of the both together, that's mud. Mud is when they all combine. You don't have each one separate. So a person, in every atoms he has these fakers that come from Adama, that drag you down, versus water, like on the second day, the Zohar says that the Mayim Tachtonim, the water, that when they were separated, they started crying, the bottom water. And the Zohar calls it the Machloikes L'Shem Shamayim. They say we don't want to be away from Melech Malchi Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised them two things. Because all the active, I want to call it discord, Machloikes here was only L'Shem Shamayim. He said that you will deserve to be on Sukkot on the Mizbeach. The Nisuch HaMayim, just to tell you how much it's worth, the Nisuch HaMayim. The Nisuch HaMayim of Sukkot was given to the lower waters, no upper waters. The second thing that was promised to the lower waters was that the upper waters cannot say Shira every day until they ask permission from the lower waters. Whoa, what's going on here? This is the story with the waters. A person offer the Pelishtim. Did you care that if I told you that they put papers in the well or they put dead carcasses in the well? They covered them. That's the story that we wanted to know. That Yitzhak Avinu had to dig them out. No, but the pasuk tells you. You know how they filled them in with dirt. It was obvious, right? So why do you tell me this? There's a tremendous yesod here. Tremendous. The same way by the Loit, the Me'ara is inside the person, inside, in the nefesh, not in the guf, in the nefesh. The same way the Be'er, a person has to dig it inside his nefesh. So Avram Avinu already taught us a few things. Yitzhak Avinu taught us also according to his midah. So we have the place of the Be'eris inside ourselves, each one. Our job is to uncover them, to remove the dirt that covers the water. That's what the Baal Shem says. In other words, the water is under it. Where is all the waters of earth? On the ground. Why? Because when HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create man, the emes came and said, no, you can't create man. He's going to be full of shkarim, of sheker and everything. What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? He took the emes and threw it in the ground. Emes mishamayim tashlich, forgot the pasuk. Vayashlech emes arza. This pasuk I remember. The emes is here, right? Where? On the ground. The mind. What's my job? My job is I have a path in life. I'm built, I have a name, which is my DNA route in this world with my mission. Each one of you has a name, which is a DNA or a map of exact mission you have to do during our lifetimes. My mission is not the same as yours, and yours is not the same as his, and his is not the same as hers, and so forth. However, we all connect to one point, to bring back the emes up, to reconnect the mayim tachtonim, the lower waters, with the upper waters. What do? Once a person has started to dig in, and how does he know he digs a boyer and not a thing? When he finds water. I'm going to go a little bit more. Basically, I'm not going to be too long on this. Just want to give you a little bit of this insight. In Kol Elyo, also, I mean, all the big rebbes, the Me'or Einaim, Mea Shiluach, Rabbi Yitzchak Mibadich, Reb Simcha B'nai Pshisacha, all of them go back after and say a different way the word of the Baal Shem. This, it's like a cornerstone in the life of a person. Not knowing this, it's like wasting our time and not doing just for the sake of it. Be'er Mayim Chaim, why do we have to dig out a Be'er Mayim Chaim? Because it's worth 361, exactly like Gan Eden Mikedem. In other words, this puts us on the path to Gan Eden. That's the reason, we need those Be'er, because otherwise you are like those people, like Yirmiyah told them, Yirmiyah Novi told them when he was giving his Teichacha to the Bnei Yisrael, don't be like those fakers. You pretend to have Be'eros, So in the pasuk, in the pasuk, it's written Be'e Rois, but it's punctuated Boy Rois. It's the only time in the Torah you will find it. In other words, he told them, I'll give you an example. I think it is going to be a lot easier. You have people deciding like, you know what? I'm going to go to college. I'm going to go to MIT. I'm going to go become an engineer, and I'm going to be in my future and everything. And this is, the guy is assured this is going to be his future and he's going to be fine. And he's full of confidence that he has this. This guy is a fool. He has created a boyer. Now, he pretends on the outside to have a be'er, which is the Shechina Kedosha. But really, he has a boyer with a Sultan. Why? Because he doesn't rely on the Shefa from up there. I don't need you. Keep your Shefa. I got mine. I went to MIT. I got to get a job at Microsoft. I'm going to get stock. I'm going to get this. I'm going to be a millionaire very soon. I'm fine. I'm really fine. I'll do some mitzvahs. I'm really fine. Yirmiyah Navi calls this boiros nishbarim, broken wells. What is a broken well? Whatever you pour in it goes out. So, you did the mitzvah tzedakah. Very good. Let's pour in some light right out. Where does it go? To the wrong side. Now you empower the wrong side. What is the wrong side doing? Right away coming and be mekatreg on you. All of a sudden, you start getting a slap, and you don't realize that you are a standstill. You've been hitting a wall, and now what do you do in your lifetime? You have not trained yourself to look up. You have not trained yourself to have emunah. You have not trained yourself to rely upon HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You thought you could do it. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, keep on doing it. That's the difference between a boyer and a bear. A person who relies on this world, the going, and they all, more and more we start thinking like this, even us, the Jews, and it takes us to a point that, honestly, it doesn't even make sense anymore. If Mashiach doesn't come fast, I don't know what he's going to find in this world. Baruch Hashem, there's some great people left and everything, but unfortunately, Jews are so uneducated these days that it's scary. So a person has to know what is the difference between a boyer and a bear. Who do I rely upon in my inside? I'm looking at it truthfully. If I'm relying upon HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it becomes, yes, I'm going to fail, and my first well is going to be destroyed, it's going to be taken away from me. Yes, it happened. It's going to be Esek. The second one, it's going to work for a little while, and it's going to be taken away from me. But the third one, you will succeed. Because says Rabboni Mipshisacha here that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will come to help him on the third. You have to pass those tests. Those tests are the test to show HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you really have a be'er inside. You do not have. So when do I stop? And where do I start? And where do I stop? Once I feel I have a be'er and I spoke to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with my heart, not just with the mouth and to be a mouthpiece, but inside I really have plans and I expect those plans to work or whatever. No, I said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you control the plans. I don't know the future. I just have to do my status for now. That's a bear. The person who says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, make my plan work, that's a bear. You already pre-decided. We don't know what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from us. The main thing he wants from us is emunah. The Gematrias this week with emunah come out of this world. How many? But it's not. There's no point trying to So the difficulty to a person, since we are made with afar, with dirt and water mixed together into mud, that makes it extremely difficult from a person to separate the water inside himself from the dirt. And that's the work we have to do. Not be scared and see the task as a mountain. Yes, it is a mountain, but it's, at the end, the blessing is there, the light is there, the party is there for those people. It's Gan Eden Mikeda. Just want to show what I started the shir with, because this is another point where people, it's a stumble block. How do I accept a slap in life? It's extremely hard. You're getting a slap. Lech meimanu, leave. Obviously, he couldn't take everything with him, Yitzhak. Obviously, he could not sell his real estate or whatever we want in such a short time. He had a reason to feel bad. He had a reason to feel down, but he did not. He knew HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from every chromosomes he had, that really wanted the best. So this is the training of the Avos at no moment, but for us. For us. What do we do? Lech me'imanu, we don't realize that the Hatzlacha, the Yeshua of Yitzchak Avinu came from that seemingly slap. So we look at it starting downward. Yitzchak Avinu get rejected, but the truth is he doesn't get rejected, because he's going to where? Where does he end up? In Beersheba. What is he digging in Beersheba? Another well. With who? With Avimelech. Avram, when he dug the well in Beersheba, who was he with? Avimelech. The parallels are right here. What is Beersheba? Beersheba equals 575. Equals Yetzer Hara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu announced him that you're done with him. That even at this point, even your enemies, forgot the pasuk in Mishlei that Gam Oivav Yashlim Itoi, even his enemies are going to make shalom with him. Means even the Yetzirah is going to work with you. Now you're going to be able to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu bechol levavecha. Now, lastly, the last question I didn't answer, Rechoivos, the third well, and the Baal Shem told us with the Torah, these are the tools that you need, to separate the water from you can go and extrapolate as much as you want. You want something? Rechoivos equals ha-Torah. We said, well, we don't have a third Beis Hamikdash. The best tool in order to separate the waters. So if you learn, and if you learn with your heart, you want to be Mekayim, the mitzvah HaKadosh Baruch Hu of Talmud Torah. We want to raise the Shechina from the ground. If a person has this in his mind, this is his concern every day, not that he becomes overly crazy and Kabbalistic, whatever. No. You go to Tefillah, you know that you're davening in order. What do we do during davening? We're just raising the Shechina. So if that's your kavanah and you're doing for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you can have your time also in life. But then you have a be'er inside you. You have nothing to worry. Things don't go your way, fine. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a plan. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing something, but you will arrive to Beersheba. You will get to Yitzhak Avinu. He became a tremendous usher. You will get to wealth. You can be assured that you will get the bracha. I forgot where it's hinted, that thing, the word bracha here. I did so many gematrias this week, but there's a pointing one that's whatever. I'm not gonna find it in all these pages. But this is what we're getting, the bracha. Nothing else than the bracha. And the This bracha comes with the seal of HaKadosh Baruch Hu of Shalom. So a person has menucha. Do you know why Avimelech threw Yitzhak Avinu out? You know why the reason? What is jealousy? Because he was rich? No. Because people were talking? No. Shabbos menucha. Because he was a tzaddik, it seemed like he never had a problem. Everybody has problems in their lives. People look at you and you always look happy, you always look fine, you always look everything. People can't take that. That triggers jealousy. The person who has a bear inside, he has Shabbos menucha inside him. Yehi Ratzayin that will be zoiche with that, Beis Hashem, to be zoiche to also have our be'eros and the 7 be'eros in every person, so we can be mashlim all the midah and all the kema and be zoiche to Mashiach b'mehera b'yameinu amen.
Amen. Amen.